The earth is the Lord's, and all that is in it, the world and those that live in it. The earth is like God's garden, and we are like plants that live in it as well. Look at all of this around us. You probably won't be able to make it here this time, but we are bringing you here. Welcome to VBS Online 2020.
Every step I take in you. You are my way, Jesus. Every breath I take, I breathe in you. Singing waves of mercy, waves of grace. Everywhere I look, I see your face. Your love has captured me. Oh my God, this love, how can it be? How can it be? How can it be? Jump! La 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 la.
Over here on my windowsill, I've got my plant. It's been sitting in the sun for a while, and let's see how it did. It looks like not much is happening. You can see a little sprout there in the side, but not much is happening yet. Let's check out how Matt's is doing in the greenhouse.
Hey there, this is how my plants are doing now. It's about 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks since I planted the seed. You can see one of the radishes is almost ready to pick. And the carrots, they all germinated, and they're going to take a lot longer until they're ready. But hopefully yours is looking good too.
Last week, we talked about how the world is like God's garden. Like we are parts of the garden, but we are also caretakers of the garden. We're also stewards of the garden. This week, we're going to be talking about something you see every day of your life. Can you guess what it is? That's right, it's water. Every garden, every plant, every creature on earth that God created needs water in order to live and survive. Without water, everything that is in this garden, from the food to the flowers to the weeds, would not be able to grow. And God, who gives us life, gives us water to live and be happy and healthy. Our Bible verse for this week is from Psalm 65, verse 9. You, that is God, visit the earth and water it. You greatly enrich it. If you keep reading, though, you'll hear how God waters the earth, just like we water our plants, and how God gives life to all things through the gift of water. Did you know that almost 70% of the entire world is covered by water? And you may be surprised to know that we too are mostly water. Surrounded by streams, lakes, rivers, ponds, creeks, water is everywhere. Water is so important for living things that people in the past went out of their way and built huge structures called aqueducts just to get fresh water in their cities. The aqueducts were big stone monuments that went all the way over miles and miles, bringing clean and fresh water to people living in cities, into fountains just like this one behind me. Nowadays, water comes through our taps and our pipes that leads right into our homes. Even here at the gardens, we have hoses that bring our water to us. We don't have to get it from miles and miles away anymore. It comes directly to us from local sources. We drink water when we're thirsty. We drink water to stay cool and stay hydrated. All life on Earth, plants and animals, including us, need water to survive. Did you know that 70% of our bodies, just like the Earth, is water? We need water so much because we sweat it out a lot. Sometimes you don't see people sweating, but on a hot day like today, some people sweat more than others. But why do we and our animals need so much water? Why do our plants need so much water? Remember last week we said that all life comes from the soil and that we too are connected to the soil. Soil is full of vitamins and minerals and nutrients that plants use as food. And when we have a drink of water, we're helping our bodies too. Water helps carry all the good things we get from food that we eat around our bodies. And the good stuff circulates. It runs around our bodies like in a circle. And we have hearts that pump our blood, also mostly water. And all this good stuff from our food, from the vegetables that take it up, runs through our bodies. The plants don't have hearts. Plants use gravity and sunlight to get water and nutrients from the soil at their roots. All the way from the root and all the way up to the very tippy tops. Even trees carry water all the way up to their branches at the very top through capillary action. Now, I won't go into detail about capillary action. The science is pretty complicated and I'm not equipped to talk about it. But you can look at your family activity sheet this week for videos about that. The science is pretty cool. And there's a cool experiment you can do with celery just like this and watch capillary action in action. What is most important to remember is that without water, plants wouldn't be able to feed themselves. The water we drink mostly comes from heaven. When it rains or when it snows or hails, that water goes into the ground and sometimes collects in rivers and lakes. And sometimes we build reservoirs to collect water that we pump into farms and firewomen and firemen use to put out fires, and it even flows into our homes. As water is heated up in our oceans and the sun heats plants, water evaporates. Even as we sweat, it evaporates off of us. And it turns into steam or water vapor, where we get the word evaporate. Then it goes up into the sky. Not too many clouds here today, but it forms clouds. And when the clouds get big enough, they drop their water. And it comes down as rain. Snow, if it's cold, or hail, if it's right in between. It goes back to the ground, and animals, plants, and we even drink it. And then it evaporates again. This is called the water cycle. And even though water comes back and replenishes, the wind may carry clouds far away. Water that came down as rain here in Santa Barbara may be carried off as clouds and come down in Colorado as snow. So all the water we drink comes down from the sky, from heaven. God really does water the earth like a garden. But most of the water on earth is not water we can drink. We cannot drink ocean water. It's too salty and can make us sick. So we have to be careful about how much clean water we use. And even water we've used in our homes can be recycled. And it can be used to water gardens, such as the rose garden here, or the mission gardens over there. And we can use water for so much more than just watering plants and for drinking. We can use water to cool down when it's hot. We can use it to clean and to wash, like washing our hands. But we can even use water for fun. But God gives us another way to use water. In the church, We use water to baptize people. When we baptize babies and adults, we put water on their heads. And as we do, we believe that God changes them and changes us. God uses water to change us. God washes us on the inside and the outside. With water, God doesn't just give us life, but in baptism, God uses water to give us new life. Water is a gift God gives us and gives our world. Whether it's to grow food for us and for our animals, whether it's to stay hydrated on a hot day, or wash ourselves in our cars, or when we baptize someone, or simply when we have fun in the water, we can remember that all this is possible because God gave us this gift. We are plants in God's garden. And here to tell us more is our special guest this week, Judy.
Earth's treasures are all around. Forests, beaches, volcanic rocks, and oceans. Water is God's life-giving gift of creation. Without water, there would be no life on Earth.
Hello, Earth-loving friends. I'm Judy Sims. Every day of my life, I am thankful for the beauty and the bounty of God's creation. All living creatures depend on water, the gift of life.
Most of Earth's water is ocean salt water, where many of Earth's animals live. However, animals and plants that live on land depend on fresh water to survive, just like us.
Thanks to water, this beautiful coastal forest has been growing with animals and plants for thousands of years. As rain falls on the watershed, some water is soaked up into the ground. Some rainwater flows into forming waterfalls, ponds, lakes, rivers, and creeks like this one. Listen, can you hear the creek water as it tumbles over rocks, winding its way across the beach and heading towards the ocean? Water is always on the move, thanks to our weather patterns and water cycle. And walking on down the creek, we hear the water tumbling over the rocks, and we follow the winding creek as it meets the Pacific Ocean. Fresh water meeting salt water. All life on Earth needs water. Our body needs fresh water in order to function and to stay alive. God created us with more than half our body made of water. And when we breathe and sweat and digest our food, our body loses water. So it's important that we drink liquids and eat healthy foods that contain water, like these fresh fruits and vegetables that contain up to 95% water. This is an example of a delicious watery snack. All living things depend on water, and water is needed to grow fruits and vegetables to keep us healthy. Here's an example of a little garden that you could make. Let me show you right here. This is my little garden, and I'm using a recycled container that I poked holes in so there'd be drainage. I filled it about 3/4 full and wet the soil. In my hand I have some tiny little lettuce seeds, and I'm going to use my pincher fingers to pinch those seeds and sprinkle them and disperse them. And then I'm going to cover them up with just a little bit of soil, pat them down to make sure that they can germinate. I'm going to give them some water with a special squirt bottle. And now I'm sure they will germinate. We just have to give them some warmth, maybe some sunshine. So water is life. We all need to take care of the precious waters of our earth and all the natural resources. Be a good earth steward. Use water wisely. Here's a little pledge I'd like you to learn to remind you about taking care of yourself, each other, and the earth. And it goes like this. We take care of ourselves, we take care of each other, and we take care of this place, this beautiful world that God has created for us. Happy gardening.
Thanks for tuning in. Next week, we'll be talking about how God gives us food. Hope you're hungry. See you next time.